Hi everyone, welcome back. Today is the long-awaited kitchen tour, the finished renovation tour video. I'm just gonna get right into it. If you weren't following along on Instagram as the work was being done, I did save most of those things in the highlights if you really want to see the blow-by-blow. There's some interesting things there. But this is the finished product, and I would say we are pretty much done. We have a few little punch list items, but nothing that you will notice. So let's turn this camera around and get started. So I'm just going to start with the foyer here. We didn't do a lot in the foyer, but we replaced the floors. So the floors now are one continuous floor from the foyer into the kitchen and into the breakfast room and down this hall here. So let's just take a quick look at the breakfast room. We replaced the floors in here and we painted over the wallpaper. We couldn't get the wallpaper off. It was, I think, applied without priming the bare drywall, so they skimmed it a few times and we just have painted. And these are the chairs that I painted that you saw in my Instagram stories. They were just a wood color. I wanted to turn them black. We updated the ceiling fan, all new window treatments, and some artwork. Over here I have a hat wall, and those are legitimately hats that I wear, or when I want to wear one I just take one off the wall. Here I have this cute little floral picture, and then I think this is probably one of my favorites in here, this little chicken, which I think was really kind of cool. We also replaced the rug in here, and I bought a new rug, so it really changes the whole feel of this room. On this little dresser, which is in desperate need of a fresh coat of paint, I did buy new handles and replaced all the handles so they kind of go with the black and white theme that's in the kitchen. I'm happy with that, and come this fall I will be taking that outside to paint it. So this is our new kitchen. We changed the layout a little bit and added this peninsula here. We did have an island in the middle, and it really kind of broke the space up, and it was really hard to have more than one person in the kitchen, so we decided to open up the workspace by making it like a U shape or with a peninsula. And we updated here. We've always had I call this a breakfast bar, but we went ahead and raised it a little bit so you can truly have counter height seating here. Before, it was in between. It wasn't counter height and it wasn't chair height, and so you kind of felt like a little kid, like you sat very low and the counter was kind of high. But now we have a much bigger area here. It's really awesome. We really love it. And so a lot of what we do, we use it and watch TV and have dinner or breakfast, or when I entertain, I can put snacks there. Works out great. These stools from Wayfair, I'm so happy with them. I really wanted a sturdy chair because my grandchildren climb up on them. I wanted a back on the chair so that they wouldn't fall off, and I couldn't be happier. They're just awesome and were a really good buy. We have the first of 4 pantries. There was a pantry here originally in the original kitchen layout. We replaced it, and this now is what I call my appliance pantry. I keep all my big appliances here and oversized serving dishes and baking things, so it really has decluttered my other kitchen cabinets. So we'll start over here where the refrigerator is, and that this is my food pantry. So you can see these, then they have the pull-out shelves and the soft close. They're really awesome. And extra storage up here. So this works out great. It kind of creates that little triangle between the refrigerator, the stove, the sink. This is really like our prep area. So About a year ago, we replaced this refrigerator in our old kitchen. We had to get the size that would fit in that space. Eventually, we plan on getting like a counter depth refrigerator so it'll all look seamless, but you know, budget things. We couldn't really afford to do it right away, so that's something that'll happen later. We kept all of our other appliances, the microwave, the stove. This bad boy is new. It did not survive the renovation. It got, something happened, and it didn't work when we reinstalled it. So, in here we have quartz countertops that go around, and couldn't be happier with those. We also did this little bump out here with the window, and it really creates a nice amount of space inside. And it looks, I'm happy with the way the outside, we blended the outside. It was a little tricky because we didn't have existing siding. We had to pick siding that kind of matched. And let's see, what else did we do in here? We did a lot of lighting in here, a lot of pot lights, and love this. We added a ceiling fan, and it just is so nice when you're in here cooking that you have some coolness. I don't know if anybody else gets hot when they cook. So here's a question for you guys. I really want to replace this toaster, and if you have a toaster recommendation, I would love to hear it. I've looked online many different places and can't really find one with great reviews, so would love to hear if you have any toaster recommendations. I would like a 4-slot if possible, if that's what you have. And then here is, I decided to put a rug in here just to give it a little bit of color and a little pop of interest. And this rug, it's I think it's a 3x5, and it's from Ruggable, which means that the rug, it like Velcros to, let me show you. It Velcros to a mat here, and you can take the rug part off and wash it in your washing machine. So I think that's really cool, and I've been thinking they have all different designs that maybe I would do, like a holiday rug or a fall rug, or I don't know, have like a little rug wardrobe for in here. Who knows? So let's go visit the last place that we renovated. We stripped wallpaper. This whole area was wallpapered. So same thing, we pulled wallpaper down, we skimmed the walls where we couldn't pull the wallpaper down, and then we painted. So, and in here we have 2 more pantries. We have this little skinny one, which is where Kate keeps her food, and then this double pantry here, which I keep all my china in. So this is all my good china and crystal, and I keep it right in here. Ooh, it goes all the way up there, because here's the dining room, and it's just super easy to store it that way. I don't have a china cabinet. So we also gutted the powder room, and we updated the vanity and the mirror and the toilet, the floors. We continued these floors right in here to the powder room. And I have to say, I love this powder room. I'm so happy with how it came out. And I couldn't be more thrilled. I picked out that little artwork to match this valance. And here I repurposed some baskets along this wall. I have gotten a couple of questions about the renovation from people who I think are maybe thinking about renovating, or just curious, long-term, short-term thinking about renovating. So this house was built in 1977. We didn't really find any big surprises in there, like the walls were all still very solid. What we did find out was that some of the electrical and some of the plumbing was no longer in code. It was in code when it was built. The codes change. And once you open up a wall and start working, you have to then bring things to code. And because we had to do that, we didn't have enough room in our current electrical panel to handle all of the kitchen appliances like they should be set up right now. So we had to put a mini panel in, which was a pretty substantial amount of money. That was about an extra $5,000 that we weren't anticipating. I think that was our biggest surprise in terms of doing the project. What would I do differently? There's really not too much I would do differently. To be very honest, we spent a lot of time thinking about how we wanted this kitchen to work. And we've lived in this house 25, 26 years, and we knew how we wanted to, what things we wanted to keep, what things we wanted to change. We were very interested in hearing what the contractor had to say. They came, they measured the space, and then they came back with some floor plan suggestions. And I was very open with them. I was like, this is what we're thinking, which is what we ended up going with, but we're open to suggestions in terms of what, what we can do to maximize the space. And sometimes a fresh pair of eyes is really so beneficial to, they see your space in a totally different way. One of the big changes we did, we had like a triple window that looked out over the backyard, which I loved. I loved having that big view. But with that big window, I would not have been able to have the 2 additional cabinets on either side of the window that I have now. And we thought long and hard about that and decided we would reclaim that space and put just a single window in there so we could have the more upper cabinets. We also did the bump out of the kitchen window, which I really am enjoying. It is a little difficult to clean because it's far away, operate because it's far away, but I think long run, I think it's kind of cool the way it looks, so I'm happy with that. A couple different contractors were really trying to get us an island because that's so popular in kitchens today, but with this space we had to work with, we didn't have enough room for an island. We had one before, and he's like, well, if we do that, we can move the island like 3 or 4 inches, and I'm like, dude, no. That's just going to sit right in the middle of my kitchen, and I'm going to have the same problem I have now. We bump into each other. There's not enough flow in the space. My last piece of advice is if you decide to do a big project like this, listen to your gut, especially if you've lived in the space. You know what will work for you and what won't work for you. A couple of things that we hadn't thought about doing that this contractor said we should do and we could do, and that was we had a sewer pipe that came down right in the middle of one part of the counter. And I'll insert a picture here of what that looked like before. And he's like, oh, well, we'll just bury that in the wall. I'm like, really? That's a thing? You can bury a pipe in the wall? Who knew that? And actually, it was not that big a deal. They just cut the pipe, put a little elbow joint and put it into the wall, and then we could just drywall over it, and that bump out was done. It was gone. We didn't have a toilet for 4 hours that day, but okay, we still managed fine. And the other thing was there was like a little half wall in the hallway. They took that out. When we opened that wall, we discovered there was actually water pipes running up into the bathroom. And so they just, again, buried those in the wall, just moved them into the wall. And now we have that nice little counter area right next to the stove. And that's one of my favorite parts of that kitchen is that little like easement. It makes it so much easier to walk by. If someone was in the refrigerator before in my old layout, you had to wait for them to close the doors or go around through the dining room or like half close the door and shimmy by. Now there's plenty of room to walk through. I think one of the last things I want to share with you is during demo I was totally fine. Like I was excited, stripping it down to the studs was fine. As we started adding stuff back, it was weird. It felt like I had a lot of anxiety about it, and a lot of self-doubt. Had I made the right decisions about the peninsula? Had I made the right decisions about the cabinet colors? Had I made the right decisions about every flipping thing? I was just stressing. But as each next layer was added, I was like, okay, I like that. So it was definitely a process. It was not like they put the cabinets in and I was like, woohoo, I love it. I was like, okay, yeah, this looks nice. And I think my husband was like, what? The layout was very different. It took a while to get used to it. And it wasn't until everything was in place, the counters, the backsplash, all the trim work done. And then I was like, yes, this came together beautifully. When I was picking out my backsplash, I had something very specific in mind. And I'll show you an inspiration photo here. And I really thought I wanted to do this like arabesque shape with like a dark grout, and I thought that would be really cool. Sourcing that tile, it was pretty pricey and it was kind of outside the budget what they allowed for the backsplash, and because we had taken a hit on a couple of other things, we wanted to keep our costs more in place. I could have paid out of pocket for just the tile that I wanted, but I thought, well, let me go look and see if I find something I like better. And I worked with a great designer at the tile company, and you know, we looked at the white tile. Yeah, great. We talked. I told her what we had going on, what was my style was, which I told her was transitional. So then she started pulling stuff, and you know, most of it I was like, yeah. And I was thinking, do I want to put a gray tile there? Do I want, like, I had so many different ideas running through my head. And then she pulled the tile that we have. It was nothing I ever would have pulled myself because A, it wasn't shiny, and I thought all tile had to be shiny. And it was like this muted neutral. And it had a little bit of gray in it, and a little bit of brown in it, and a little bit of the white in it. She said, this will pull together other colors and things that you have in your house, that it'll like pull it all together. And I was like, huh, that was just the reaction I was looking for. And I was like, and the more I looked at it, I was like, I think I really like this. Okay, and a note about the floors. They look like hardwood, but they are not. We went with luxury vinyl planking, and it was so much more cost effective. They look beautiful, they're waterproof. You know, we have that pool, so people are in dripping bathing suits, so you don't have to worry about that. You don't have to worry about the dog scratching up because it's very durable. Do your research. I did a lot of research, a lot of sourcing on my own before we engaged a contractor, so I really, really had a good idea of what I wanted, and I think it helped the process. Thank you for joining me today. I upload videos every Saturday morning. Here's a link to last week's video right up here. And over here, we'll put a YouTube recommendation for you to check out. Thank you so much, and I'll see you real soon. Bye.